The Legend of Cleopatra, from The Legend of Good Women by Geoffrey Chaucer. The beginning of the legend of Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt. After the death of King Ptolemy, who had all Egypt under his rule, Cleopatra, his queen, reigned, until on a time it befell that out of Rome there was sent a senator, to win kingdoms and honors for the town of Rome, as was their wont, that she might have the world under her obedience, and in sooth his name was Antony. As fortune owed him a disgrace after he had met with prosperity, it so befell that he became a rebel to the town of Rome, and moreover he falsely deserted the sister of Caesar, ere she was aware, and at any cost would have another wife. Wherefore he fell at odds with Caesar and with Rome. Nevertheless, this same senator was a full worthy noble warrior, in sooth, and his death was full of great pity. But love had brought this man into such a madness, and so tightly bound him in his snare, all for love of Cleopatra, that he set all the world at no value. Naught seemed to him so needful as to love and serve Cleopatra. He recked not to die in arms in defense of her and of her right. Eke this noble queen in like fashion loved this knight for his merit and his knighthood, and certainly, unless the books lie, he was of his person and nobility and distinction and hardness worthy of any weight alive. And she was as fair as the rose in May, and, for it is best to write briefly, she became his wife and had him as she desired. To describe the wedding and the festival were too long for me, who have undertaken such an emprise, as to put in verse so many stories, lest I should neglect things of greater weight and import. For men may overload a ship or a barge, therefore I will ship lightly to the conclusion, and let slide all the remnant. Octavian, maddened by this deed, raised a host of stout Romans, cruel as lions, to lead against Antony for his utter destruction. They went to ship, and I leave them sailing thus. Antony was wary, and would not omit to encounter these Romans if he could. He laid his plans, and on a day both he and his wife and all his host went forth anon to ship. They tarried no longer. Out at sea it befell the foes to meet. The trumpet sounds on high. They shout and shoot, and at sunrise make fierce onset. With grisly sound out flies the huge shot, and furiously they hurtle together, and form the foe-tops. Down come the great stones. In amongst the ropes go shearing hooks and grablets full of claws. This man and that press on with Polexis. One flees behind the mast, and one again, and drives out the other overboard. One pierces another upon his spear point. One cuts the sail with hooks like scythes. Another brings the wine cup and bids them be glad. One pours peas upon the hatches to make them slippery. They rush together with pots full of quick lime, and thus they pass the long day in battle, till the last, as everything has an end, Antony is defeated and put to flight, and all his folk scatter as best they can. The queen with all her purple sails fled likewise from the blows that went thick as hailstones. No wonder she could not endure it. And when Antony saw that chance, he said, Alas, the day that I was born, so this day I have lost all mine honor. And in despair he started out of his wits, and rove himself to the heart forthwith. Ere he went further from the place, his wife, who could get no mercy from Caesar, fled to Egypt in dread and anguish. But hearken, ye that speak of devotion, ye men who falsely swear by many an oath that ye will die for your beloved, but be but angered. Behold, what womanly faithfulness ye may here see. This woeful Cleopatra made such lament that no tongue can tell it. But in the morning she would tarry no longer, and caused her skillful workmen make a shrine out of all the rubies and fine gems that she could spy out in all Egypt. And she filled the shrine with spices, and had the body embalmed, and fetched forth this dead corpse, and enclosed it in the shrine. And next the shrine she had a pit dug, and put therein all the serpents she could find. And thus she spoke: Now, beloved, whom my sorrowful heart so far obeyed, that from that blissful hour when I swore to be all freely thine, I mean thee, Antony, my knight, thou wert never out of mine heart's remembrance, so long as I was awake, day or night, were it in wail or woe, in the carol or the dance. And then I made this covenant with myself, that whatever it were thou fillest, wail or woe, the same would I fill, life or death, if it lay in my power, for the honor of my wifehood. And that covenant, whilst breath remains in me, I will fulfill. And this shall men see well, never was queen truer to her love. And at that word, with right good heart, she leapt naked into the pit amongst the serpents, and there she chose to be buried. Anon the serpents began to sting her, and she received her death cheerfully, for the love of Antony, who was so dear to her. And that is truth of history. It is no fable. Now, until I find a man thus faithful and steadfast, who will so willingly die for love, I pray God may heads over ache. The end of the Legend of Cleopatra.